Every time I log into Zoom now, it says your video is loading.
I think it's probably that dock thing that it's plugged into. So maybe if you go back to just plugging the camera directly into your computer, maybe that'll stop doing that stuff.
Which is
Right now it's plugged into here.
Okay.
So if we
I mean, it was working before though.
right, but why? But you're telling me it's doing things it shouldn't do or didn't do. So now we shouldn't have those problems, right?
Cheryl, are we in the class?
Yes.
Okay, great. Sorry, I just looked, didn't know if we're on time or not.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where everybody else is, but you were on time. Hmm.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, I'm just checking something.
Hi,
Hey,
Jill.
all. I told Cheryl I'm gonna stay out of video. I don't know if who I shared this with or not, but I was in a really bad car accident and I'm riding the edges of I don't know the edges, a concussion and whiplash. So, and focusing my eyes on a screen is really painful. So I'm gonna stay off of video, but I'm here.
Oh my gosh, Georgie, I'm so sorry to hear this.
Thank you. Thank you for your
Right.
emails too, Lori. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh,
Reckless drivers.
oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Terrible.
No, it's not tonight. Oh, Lori.
Yeah, I can't find the schedule, but I went in. Yeah,
It's
ignore me.
the 19th.
Okay. Okay, got it. I can't even find it. Oh, it changed. That's why. Okay, got it.
Okay, so, I have a really bad migraine,
Oh no.
and so I'm gonna set up the class, and then Holly and Lori are gonna run the feedback part of the in-class coaching, and we'll go over the chapter in the next class, or you guys can go over it together. You can read through it together, and then I can answer questions and bring up, bring any examples that I had for the next class. And we'll just combine the two chapters review. The problem is it's driving my sugar down, so it's creating other issues. So, so I apologize, and I want to wait until Valerie gets in here too, and let me see. I have to give, you know what? How did we figure that out before? If I give you host and I leave, do you still retain host?
I haven't done.
I think so.
Okay. What'd you say, Holly?
I haven't done that. I don't know.
Oh,
I think that's what we've done before.
okay. Okay. All right. Well, while we're waiting, because Marcy's not back yet, right? She doesn't come back till next week. Okay.
I'm not even in the right.
So I guess we're just waiting for, yeah, just for Valerie. Okay, so, any questions do you guys have, so far in the course? We're coming up, we're pretty close to the end. Any questions? Oh, Christine's having issues with her internet, so we'll see what happens there. Dee's here, okay. So Valerie and Christine. All right. So any questions about anything? All right. So we actually have the workbook done finally. I'm just gonna show it to you because so you believe me. See, it's done, but it's not downloaded and uploaded yet. So I have to download it out of Canva. And yeah, it's all of them. And then it has your peer coaching log at the end. And then your chapter reviews of the book. That's all towards the end of it. And then in the beginning is all the assignments. So we'll get that linked out to you on in UpCoach and the forum. I'll link it in an announcement. And you'll be able to just download it from there. And let's see. Where's our markers? And who's that? That is Valerie. Okay. So, so tonight we have Kim coaching D. And then go ahead, Lori.
I'm saying it's me. I think it's me. I'm coaching Christine.
Oh, did you guys switch? No, it's just one tonight.
Oh, I'm
It's
looking
just
at the wrong
Kim
one.
coaching D.
Okay.
And then the next week on the 12th, Georgie coaches Marcy. 17th, Marcy coaches Kim, and you coach Christine on the 17th. And then Valerie coaches Georgie on the 19th.
No, we switched. I'm away that night. I just coached last week.
Oh, who did you switch with? Christine and no. Who was it?
I don't know who it was supposed to be.
Was it you, Holly?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I'm the 19th, so 12th.
you're the 19th. All right, I'm putting you in there now. Okay. And then we have our final on the 24th. Okay. So tonight is chapter 10. And I think Holly will have you do the feedback, run the feedback, and Laura, you run the chapter review. We do it that way? You're on mute. Why
I
are you
know.
laughing?
I know. Sure. Sure.
I mean, you just have to just like read through it as much as you
Read.
can. And there's a activity in there, so just kind of run the activity off of it.
Perfect. You got it.
All right. Okay. So make sure you have your observation forms available. Well, are you driving now?
Yeah, only for minutes. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I'm not actually behind the wheel.
Okay. All right. That's fine. I get nervous when people are
Yeah.
driving and trying to pay attention to class. Okay, guys. Okay. So I'm done and I'm gonna hand it over to Holly and Lori. And if you need anything in the meantime, let me know. And you can message me. I'm just gonna be laying down in the dark. So thanks, guys. And I'm sorry, but I don't want to push us out anymore. I want us to finish, June 24th and the week of the 26th for our last one-on-one. So I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to have Holly and Lori do it. And if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll talk to you later. Oh, I have to give, how do I do this?
Hope you're feeling better, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Definitely. Get some rest.
If you have enough to skip me for this round, I'd appreciate it because I don't have my forms with me.
Just, you can just verbally just pick up on something and then just verbally talk about it. Okay. Holly, do you have host?
Oh, it hasn't come through yet.
I saw it come through.
Oh, so Lori has it, I guess.
No, you have it. But I saw it change that it said Holly is now host.
Oh,
And then you can make Lori co-host or whatever, but make sure you're host.
where would it say that?
If you go under participants, it should be next to your name. Yeah,
It does say that you're host. I see it.
Okay, yeah,
So
there
if
it
you
is.
go over and hit the 3 dots near Lori and you
Yeah.
can assign somebody a host, then you're definitely the host.
Oh, yeah, I can.
Okay.
Okay.
Did
All
you,
right,
sorry, Cheryl, I know you want to go. Did you assign us anything?
No, I'm going to.
No, Lori,
okay,
Holly's
okay.
gonna handle that part. Lori's gonna
okay.
handle the chapter part, okay?
Okay, thank you. Feel better.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Georgie, you can't look at the computer, so you're just gonna listen along as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen. I pulled out the document, but I don't really
Yeah.
want to zoom in into that, but I'll listen in. Yep.
Yeah, that's fine. No
Thank
worries. Just wanted to check. Okay, so we can just loosely do like D if you want to do 3 and 4.
Okay.
And then if we do Kim, you want to do 5 and 6. And then Lori, you can do like 7 and 8. And then Valerie, if you hear anything that just sounds amazing, write that down in your head. And we'll just kind of go along. Don't stress about having too many things to say about each. If we just have like 1 or 2 about each of our core competencies, then we should be good. Let's see, so Kim, it is. I'm typing this out because I always forget these days to write down the time. No, but you're 3 hours, so it's 3:50 your time. Is that right?
Are we not going through the chapter first and then I'll be coaching?
Oh, I guess I just assumed we were starting with coaching first because that's what Cheryl was talking about. You're on mute, Lori. Do you want to do the chapter first?
D, if you're up for it, I think it would be interesting to have plenty of time with you and then do the rest of the time. Like it's just one coaching session tonight, right?
So
I don't want to be another chef in the kitchen, but it was just a thought that it might be nice to reverse it. I don't know. Your call. I guess Lori and Holly, you're in charge.
If
Holly,
you go
would you-
ahead and if you go ahead and do the chapter first, and I was gonna mull through a few things before,
Okay.
because usually we just do the chapter first. So I was set for that, if that's okay.
Yeah, and Kim just ran
Um,
in the door from work, so
Okay,
Yes, yeah.
so
I'm good to go. I'm just saying that, I just thought that we would be doing the chapter first. That's all.
me too, Kim. Me too, Kim.
Okay.
we'll just go through the chapter together and then we'll switch to coaching
okay.
with this, Lori.
Okay, sure. All right. So the only thing that I need to do, I could share my screen if that helps everybody to follow along. But in order for me to do that, can I share my screen? Share. You might get all of it or you might get none of it. Let's see.
Made you co-host. You should, I would think.
Yeah, we're chapter 10, right?
Yes.
Everybody can see that?
It's black. Oh, there it is. Perfect.
Yay. All right. So let's see what we're talking about today. All right. So advanced coaching for high performance and resilience, my 2 favorite topics. All right. So when we think about success, it's not just about outcomes, it's about sustainability. So high performance coaching, we don't want to just push our clients to the limit. We want them to access their full potential without sacrificing their well-being, their presence, and their alignment. So this chapter focuses on how to support our clients in achieving their goals with resilience, energy management, and emotional intelligence. So we're going to explore about what motivates people. We're going to identify how emotional and cognitive patterns develop behind burnout. And we're also going to talk about how to coach clients towards performance and also peace. So I don't know about you guys, but I know that this is something that is near and dear to my heart, because burnout is sometimes really easy to do. All right, so let's redefine high performance. High performance encompasses clear focus, aligned energy, emotional regulation under pressure, and purpose-driven action. So our job as a coach is to help clients understand their unique rhythm and resilience, and not someone else's idea of success. So the goal is not more, it's alignment, recovery, and flow. Resilience is the ability to navigate stress, setbacks, and pressure without breaking alignment. It's not about avoiding the hard things, it's about recovering faster and growing stronger through the challenge. So examples or things to look out for low resilience: that linear black and white thinking, people getting reactive and shutting down, perfectionism, and chronic overcommitment and just really feeling depleted. If you are growing in resilience, you reframe setbacks as feedback, emotional flexibility, boundaried energy and management, and also we return to values under stress. Now, as I'm reading this, I can really see this for myself. Can everybody identify that for themselves when you are in one phase versus another? And so the cool thing about me, what's coming up for me right now, is that this is easy to see in our clients as well. Right? So I love this. I love this topic. EQ for high performance. High performance allows clients to sustain performance without burnout. The key for EQ sub-areas for this work include stress tolerance, responding constructively to pressure, impulse control, slowing down and choosing with intention, self-regard, trusting one's worth, not just productivity, emotional expression, acknowledging emotions instead of suppressing them, and finding mechanisms on how to do that appropriately, which I also believe is an area that people need to watch out for. And then reality testing, staying grounded in facts over fear and urgency. And this is an area where people really struggle. High performers don't ignore emotions. They learn how to listen to them with clarity and compassion. So they're not robots. However, they are not highly reactive. Coaching tools for high performance and resilience. We want to do an energy audit. So we want clients to assess where they're feeling energized and where they're feeling depleted. We want them to explore time versus energy patterns. So a lot of times we could prompt them by saying, what gives you energy? What drains it? Even when both are part of their success. So a lot of times clients will not recognize their emotions around it, and they won't pick up the signal of when they're feeling a certain way around a certain topic, that they're not in alignment, right? We see this all the time as coaches. Reset rituals. We want to support clients in designing rituals that restore energy throughout the day, weeks, or months. So post-meeting breath work, mid-week tech detox, right? Getting rid of all electronics, daily check-ins with values. I have a couple others that come up for me, but what about you guys? What do you do personally, or what do you advise your clients to do when they need a reset? energetically? Anything come up?
I find going down to the water really helps me.
Getting out in nature, going for a
Mhm.
walk. Yeah, definitely. Anybody
But
have
it-
any?
How about a cold shower? That's an autonomic nervous system reset.
Oh, that'll do it. Yeah. Valerie?
Well, I didn't hear the autonomic part. I mean, for me, when I get tense, my go-to is the yard lawn work.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
actually there's two of those. There's passive recovery and then there's active recovery. So the passive
Clients a
recovery.
lot about.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Did I break out?
Yeah. Say it
What's
one more
that?
time. Try it again.
Well, I was talking about my go-to, which is when I can, if I need to decompress, I do yard work.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Another
I just tell people to find some. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, Valerie. Continue.
I tell people to find. I tell people to find some way to pause. The main thing is to pause, to give yourself space between your reaction to whatever's happening and your response to it. Because we have a visceral reaction, but we want to have a more self-managed response. So really the pause is the big one.
Yeah, agreed. Dee?
Something else that we learned in at Flow Research Collective is it's called, believe it or not, wall staring. Okay, so when you're overwhelmed at your desk, then the wall staring will help you to recalibrate because you're focusing on nothing but the wall. And so when you do that, you are able to let go. It's kind of like a meditative, state in a, just like that. It's like a quickie meditation, and the wall staring is your brain is going, okay, all of, it's collecting and it's going focus, and it really helps a reset there.
Yeah.
Something else that you do is, especially when you're at your desk and you're in that struggle phase of the flow cycle, then what was recommended is doing breathing exercises. So if you need some juice, you go like breath of fire, or if you need to calm down, then you do the box breathing too. So this gets you out, it gives your brain releasing those juicy cocktails of dopamine and serotonin, that is going to help you to bring that calm down. And so those are the couple of things that we learned in that class. It's
Yeah, I love that. And like for me, I have to be doing something in order to think, right? So like puzzles for me are like super soothing. I always have one like on my table. If I'm doodling and I'm just like thinking, it helps me process thoughts. So people have different ways on how they're able to release their stress. And I'm not surprised that Valerie has a really great time going in her garden doing that, because you're in nature, you're getting one with nature, your hands are in that dirt, like there's the whole smell, the tactile, all of that. So I love that. I love that idea, Valerie. Okay, thank you guys. So
sorry, I just want to tell you guys one more thing that I think is very cool, if I may.
yeah.
And it's really interesting, but if you rub your two fingers, your thumb and your forefinger, or your thumb and another finger together, and you concentrate on the ridges of each of the fingers, similar to what you're saying, Dee, about a focus, it can really like bring everything right into that place. And this is another strategy I talk to my clients about, because if they're in a work meeting, they can stick their hand under the table and they can just do it and concentrate. It's really effective.
And one of the things, and to that point, you just remind me, I have one of those worry stones with me all the time. Right? And if I know I'm going somewhere, I throw it in my pocket, and I always have this on my desk. I love that. I love that. Thank you for that reminder. Okay, so performance pattern review. So we want to map recent successes and challenges. What habits, mindsets, and support systems were in place? So the prompt here is what was different about the times you performed with ease versus with effort? When is something that comes naturally, you're in the flow state versus something you need to work on, right? Reframing setback. It teaches clients to see missteps not as failures, but a feedback loop. What opportunities inside this challenge that wasn't available before it happened? What's another way that you guys can ask that?
Can I just show you guys something really quick?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can figure out how to turn, well, I'll just turn my phone, my camera around. But some of you may remember my coaching session about the fence. Does anybody remember I was agonizing over the fence?
Mhm.
Well, anyway, I'll tell you
Yes,
more,
Valerie.
but let me just show you what's happening right now. It's being put up right now. So
Oh,
I
that's
just want to
great.
tell you that that coaching session helped me to pull the trigger, and it's happening right now. So I just had to share that with you.
Yay,
We didn't-
Valerie.
But that's great.
That's
Good
awesome.
job.
Oh, no wonder you didn't see it because
Yeah.
my camera was off. So they're
Let's
doing
see.
it right now.
Oh, that's awesome, Valerie.
Oh, that's so great.
Beautiful.
Just
Strong
wanted to I share with you it coming to life. All right, I'm sorry to
Hey, awesome.
Great. That's so great. Okay, so strength-based strategy building, supporting clients in leveraging their natural strengths to pursue goals more effectively. So we can prompt them by asking a question like, how can you design this process in a way that honors how you work your best or how you work best? Presence in performance, help clients stay grounded during high-stakes situations using micro-awareness tools. So coaching tools, 3-point check-in, body, breath, and belief. Meeting transitions from doing to being with a 1-minute intentional pause. So this is where I think of D's, like, look at the wall, right? Peak state anchoring, identify the internal conditions for peak performance and how to reset when they're lost. So we also want to talk about performance, identity, and self-worth. So high achievers are often over-identify with results. When performance becomes identity, rest, mistakes, or stillness can feel like failure. So some of the coaching questions, and I'll ask you guys if you have any others to add. Who are you without the pressure to prove? What do you believe about yourself when you're not accomplishing? And how can you lead with value instead of validation? Any others that you guys might ask? No? Okay. I actually had a coaching call today that it was the exact opposite. He's actually launching a $100 million business and he's self-sabotaging. And so it's really ironic for me to see these questions here right now because it's kind of like everything's in flow, right? Okay, so this reflection supports a more grounded, sustainable self-worth. Coaching tip, helping clients shift from what am I producing to who am I becoming invites a deeper resilience. So performance recovery and cycle. Just like athletes, they need rest for their muscles to grow. High performers need space to recharge emotionally, mentally, and physically. Clients need support in building pauses and restoration in their rhythm, recognizing early signs of overdrive and depletion, and creating rituals for deeper recovery, not just surface level rest. Because remember, most of the time, high performers, they have a full calendar and they go, 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 and rest is usually the problem for them, right? I can do it. So we want to support our clients. So the prompt would be, what does real recovery look like? Not escape, but actual restoration. Mini case study, from hustle to harmony. The client says, I'm always on, even on vacation, I'm checking email. I feel like I fall behind if I stop. So what would you guys say to that? How would you respond to that? What question would you ask? What's your instinct when a client would say that to you?
Well, what would happen if you did fall behind?
Yeah.
And, you know, what does it mean to you to not be producing and to be relaxing? Like, what does that mean to you? Maybe, I don't know.
Where does this anxiety come from? That you have to be on all the time, that you have to always be producing, right? Because for me, what's coming up is that, again, that self-worth conversation, right? So the emotion of being irrelevant or being replaced, they might have that fear around that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Dee.
What happens at the workaholic is they're addicted to dopamine and serotonin, and so their autonomic nervous system, that's what they are getting. It's like this is what their body and their mind, they're addicted to this. And so when they're not getting these neurochemicals, then it's just like an alcoholic. They are addicted to the physiological response of this, and so they want more, more, more. So the challenge would be to ask them to be able to find out what would it when was the last time you felt like that you were really rested? When you really when you really came down off the edge, and what did that feel? So you would want them to connect back with the state of non super speed, you know, to what we want to know what it feels like for them to slow down. What does that feel like? What emotions did that bring up? So when you find out what emotions that brings up, well, when I was a kid, you know, I walked into a house, and if daddy was working, I had to be working. You know, I get my butt whooped, you know.
People, yeah, absolutely.
So try and help them to understand, you know, what it would when was a time when they were resting and they felt comfortable in that resting place, where they didn't have to feel like they were going breakneck speed. So bring them back around to what is a known factor for them, and build back from there would be one place to start, because they don't connect with that rest like we do, that recovery. And you have to have that recovery to be able to be rested. It's like that cycle, the flow cycle. So the flow cycle is struggle, and then when you release, then you go into peak performance, and your brain is going on 90 million miles an hour. So then you have to put the brakes on, recover, let your brain gear down, and let them know that if they do this, that they will be more productive than ever.
And the only thing that I want to say with that too is, for some people that is true, and then for some
Okay.
people like they become what's coming up for me, and I feel that they're both true, right? That also people become high performers when they're also avoiding something else, right?
Okay. So that's another way to look at it.
Yeah, so I agree with you 100% about they need to rest, and I think we need to recognize why are they in that high performing state, right? Like, case in point, somebody went through, one of my friends went through a massive divorce and said to herself, I am never going to be dependent on another person again for money. And she dove 2 feet first in with work, and that's all she ever did until she got really successful, and then that's all she ever knew. And she didn't even recognize it was an issue because she never handled the emotional side of it. Right? So I love what you're saying, Dee, and I agree with you that we have to have them recognize the importance of rest and why they're in that pattern that they're in. I love that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I would ask, what do you want to get out of your vacation?
Yeah, bring them back to
Like, so why do you go on a vacation? I wouldn't say why, but I'm like, that would be, like behind it, right? So.
And I also know people that go on vacation that use the vacation to keep their status of like, this is what I do, but they're working the whole time that they're on vacation. Right? So it's kind of like, is it a vacation or is it still work disguised as a vacation? Tricky, tricky, tricky. Okay, so where was I? So coaching reveals fear of being irrelevant or being replaced. I am only valuable when I'm producing. And the behavior is overwork, hyper responsibility, and lack of boundaries. So what we want to do is through coaching, the client creates new boundaries, schedule real tests, and reconnects with core values beyond output. Productivity increases, but so does joy, clarity, and emotional regulation. Scenarios. All right. The burned out achiever. Your client is exceeding all the KPIs, but feels empty, anxious, and disconnected from purpose. What's missing? What do you guys think?
Can you explain what KPI is?
Key, what does it stand for again? Indicators, key producing indicators.
Performance.
Performance. That's it.
Performance.
Don't tell my husband. He tells me this all the time and I never remember. What do you guys think is missing if they're feeling empty, anxious, disconnected from their purpose?
Well, I think they're lacking their purpose. What is their purpose?
So what is their passion?
Mhm.
What are they passionate about?
What are their values?
Yeah, what are their values? Mm-hmm. Yeah, like what's their why?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think of balance, so, what is their life work balance?
Yeah. And then what questions might help them recalibrate? What questions might help them recalibrate energy and alignment? Christine,
What do
is
they do to give themselves energy?
what questions might help them? Yeah. I'm trying to get Christine in my view here. Sorry, guys. There she is. Okay. What questions might help them recalibrate energy and alignment? Hi, Christine. You okay? Okay. Cheryl wasn't feeling well, so we're gonna just kind of take this class on. Okay. What other questions can we do to recalibrate energy and alignment? If somebody's coming to you and you see that they are depleted and they're not in flow. So Dee said earlier, stare at the wall.
I think it depends on how burned out the achiever is. So like when I think of my burnout, like it was so severe, I didn't even know what was misaligned. So it was like stepping back for like months, just kind of like refiguring out myself. And then realizing like what wasn't aligning. But that's a really extreme case. But that's an extreme case. If you have someone like that.
And sometimes people may not recognize, like you're saying, that they're in that state until they get out of that state, right? They don't recognize the brain fog, the lack of desire to do anything. Like it's kind of like all encompassing. So
Yeah.
how can we kind of get that awareness to them? What would you like if everybody's felt that way before, right? What could be something that somebody would have asked you at that time when you felt that way that would have given you an awareness? If anything.
How did you first feel when you first started this occupation? What were some of the emotions that drove you, that excited you, and bring back that awareness of, you know, you all jump in, you're excited to begin with, and then you go down the road and then you're starting feeling like all poopied out, and then you go, okay, well, this feeling is lasting too long. And usually it's, so bringing it back to remembrance, and what this will do is bring back their muscle memory as well. It will help them bring their physiology back to a state of a time when they really felt comfortable and excited and their ambition was intact. Now their ambition is gone, and they don't know where the heck it went and they don't know why. So bringing it back to square one and getting that measurement might help.
Yeah. Yeah. So getting them back to their why, maybe? Like, why did they start?
Mhm.
Yeah. I love that.
And coaching
Anybody?
them to what happened along the way, kind of, where they might have went off track, and, well, what would have been more important at that time.
Mhm. Yeah. Anyone else? Even a simple question like, when's the last time when's the last time you felt really rested? When's the last time you felt like you could disconnect?
And something another too is that we need to talk about, what that they're doing, how that they're treating their body as well. What nutrition, how are you feeding your brain and your body for success? Let's talk about your sleep habits, protect your sleep like your life depends on it, and if you find out your client has insomnia and they're getting up 3 times, 5 times a night eating, and going back to bed, that's a thing. It's called not eating syndrome. So find out, what they're doing. And I promise you, when you get back on a nutritional path and start feeding your brain, brain food, then you are able to think better. When you cut out all that sugar and that caffeine, your brain just works better and your body feels better too. So helping, bring about the physical nature of peak performance and what you have to do to the temple to keep it going.
Yeah. Yeah.
That may
Awesome.
not have been what you asked, but that's part
Yeah,
of
that's
what
part
we
of it.
would want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. The perfection loop. Your client delays launching a program because it's not ready yet. Anybody else been there? Right?
Not
So how can you bring awareness to the perfectionism pattern? What would you do as a coach? What would you ask?
I would ask a question around how are they doing with achieving the goals that they've set out for themselves? Because with perfectionism, like you can have a goal, but then you don't get to it because it's never good enough.
It would be a micro goal between what would be a micro goal and between the macro goals. What I'm going, okay, I can't get those two straight. How could you be satisfied? And that's what's going on here, is that they're not satisfied. So what would you have to be satisfied? And I like satisfied because that's a really good word. It's as far as, personal satisfaction, it kind of like resonates there. Because other than seeing that one goal as warp speed to it, what are some rewards that you can get along the way to that goal? And that's another thing of peak performance too, is finding out what those rewards are for the client so that they can recognize those on that minuscule level all the way instead of that big picture of the end goal.
Mhm.
That's big. And that would be chunking down the goals, right? For clear goals as a flow trigger. But it's really the reward system, right?
Mhm. Yeah. And the other thing too is that like they hold significance to all of it. Like everything's a big deal. So questions like, what if you couldn't mess it up? What would you have it look like? Right? Like you can't get it wrong. What would you do? Like that is I think also beneficial. And so then how can EQ help disrupt the cycle? How can we add that piece to that?
I
A
would say
mindful-
independence. So I would ask a question around where can you, oh, it's gone now. Sorry. But it just, I got, distracted there. But just, so the independence piece.
Mhm.
And so, oh, darn. Okay, I'm gonna
Sit with that. Valerie had one. Valerie, what were you saying?
I was
It'll-
thinking about, I I don't know based on whatever lists we have, but I was thinking of a mindfulness piece of, when you're feeling stuck, to pause and look at whether this is a product of um trying to get it perfect. I have so as a positive psychology practitioner, we have we have a couple of phrases that we use. One is good enough, when good enough is good, and good enough is good enough. And the other is permission to be human when we
Mhm.
put too much pressure on ourselves. So, how will you know when good enough is good enough? And and then there's the progress not perfection. Like I have all these phrases that, like, how can you make progress, how can you move one more step, those kinds of things maybe.
Mhm. Yeah, and if they're putting a post out there, there's also that conversation of people are going to judge me, right? What are people going to think? What if it's not perfect? Right? Kim, did you come back to what you were thinking?
No, but I came up with something else.
Okay.
So, a reality thing too. Like, so, just simply asking, what is the truth behind this?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, great job, guys. Awesome. Okay, so the hustle identity is the third scenario. Your client says, I don't know who I am if I'm not pushing hard. What identity work could support this client? The first question that comes up for me is, why do you feel you need, like, who do you need to prove? How did you get started in this?
How does pushing hard make you feel? What does it do for you?
Yeah. How does it validate you? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love that.
And maybe the opposite of that too. So like, because it's the hustle identity, right? So like, who are you if you were to slow down?
Mm. Yeah.
I've got a friend like that right now, and she just won't, she just dissolving one business and she's jumping into this one before this one, and she just goes 90 miles a minute. And this is who she is. She can't operate any other way.
Mhm.
And I worry about burnout for her too. And she's a friend. So
Mhm. And so what would ease and high performance look like together?
wait, let me hold on just a minute. So she says that I am running for my life is what she's doing. And
Is that what you said? Running from my life? Or for?
running to my life,
Oh.
running for to my life, because she's got this and that going on. So this is her life is pushing forward and running through her life. It was really interesting. So I've got to go back and look at what she texted me. But anyway, go ahead. That
Interesting.
was interesting.
So then if you were able to marry ease and high performance together, what would that look like? For that client, right? Like how can you create that for them?
Well, you would want to know their locus of control, whether it's intrinsic or external. And you would want to know what you would want what their values are and make sure that their values are aligned. What else?
Do they exist in harmony together? Can they? That's like, can they exist in harmony together? Because I see that and I'm like, I think it's a wonderful question. It's a wonderful question.
Yeah. And, the first thing that comes to me are tools, right? Like managing your calendar, blocking out times, setting boundaries.
Ding, ding,
And I
ding.
think I would like to offer like a visualization,
Yeah.
right? And so maybe a question around what would it look like for you to achieve this with ease?
Mhm. Yeah. What would that be? Yeah, valid.
As far as tools, like the one, like, blocking time or whatever it is,
Mhm.
in writing, there's the shitty first draft. So, could you do a shitty first draft
Yeah.
and not worry about it, right? Like, yeah.
Love that.
I like that.
I'll
I've
remember
heard that before. That's cool.
Love that. All right. So if we bring it all together, peak performance is about being fully aligned. The most resilient, successful people don't avoid pressure. They build capacity to face it with clarity, energy, and emotional agility. Your role as a coach is to help clients define success on their terms, reflect energy and behavior patterns, and offer tools to sustain performance without self-sacrifice. So the reflection prompt here is, what does high performance look like when it's grounded in peace instead of pressure? For me, the word that comes up is flow. Easy. Because you could be effective and still be at peace.
And for me, it's focus.
For me, it's balance.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, we made it through. Anybody have any questions?
Very good, Lori. Everybody give her a hand.
Yay,
Good
thank you.
job. Very good.
Yeah, great
Wow.
facilitation. Woo, woo.
All right, so it's
High five. Woo. Take
it's
your right hand, put
7:30.
it on your left shoulder. Go ahead.
I'm happy I can read. So this is the thing. It's 7:30. Do we want to take a quick break before our coaching call? Okay. We go until what time? 9?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we want to take 15, 10, 15?
15.
Okay. Let's take 15. So let's come back at 7:45. That'll be enough time, right, Holly?
Yeah. Plenty. We're good.
Okay. All right. Okay, see everybody at 7:45.
So while we're waiting for everybody to get back, if you guys want to get out your marker, your feedback template, or whatever you've saved it as.
Hey, Christine. Where'd she go?
I don't think she's back yet. I think she's dehydrating her food.
I'm
Sorry.
back
I saw your Facebook post.
and I was tasting dehydrated stuff, by the way. Thank you very much.
It looks amazing. What's your favorite so far?
I've only dehydrated one thing. It takes 2 days. Took me 2 days to dehydrate 6 pounds of tomatoes. And then I took them and I ground them this morning and they fit in one entire mason jar.
Interesting.
So right now I have 4 trays of different types of fruits going.
Would be the best.
The craze, isn't it? I hear people are doing that crazy and
Pretty
having great
amazing.
results. Good for
But I don't
you.
have to be coached, do I, today?
No,
No.
Okay.
He
Cool.
and Kim. Kim
I have
and
a
me.
quick question, Christine. So
Huh?
how do you cut your tomatoes when you dry them?
I just cut them in half.
What? They're like, you make them meaty.
Well, no, because they're little tomatoes. I had 4 bags of them in my freezer already from our garden last year. And so they're little tiny ones. And so I just sliced them in half and then put them on my tray. And no, they're not meaty because now they're ground into
Oh,
powder. So
cherry
I have,
tomatoes.
yeah, so I have like a jar of tomato powder now that we were just testing to see how it tastes. And it's amazing. So yeah,
That's awesome.
that's my journey. Anyways, I'm gonna let you all go here and get off screen.
Okay, so where did I write that down so nicely?
You'll need to reassign my 3 and 4.
Yeah, because you're being coached. I thought it was the other way around. So, okay, Lori, do you
It's hard to pull double duty tonight. I'll just tell you that right now.
I'm just trying to get out of it. Lori, do you want to do 3 and 4? And then I have Kim on here too. This is ridiculousness. Or she can't. And then we'll do Valerie, do 5 and 6. And then there's a lot for 7 or 8. So we'll all just kind of follow along, the 3 of us, right? That's right. Yeah. That are taking notes actively. And then we can share some thoughts on that. Okay, so it's like 10 till.
Holly, sorry,
Yeah.
what number am I?
Oh, I forgot you. I'm so sorry because you weren't here when I wrote my lovely list. So
Never mind,
Christine,
Holly.
you are gonna do 7 and 8 for us because you're so good at it. I thought you were
Okay,
That's
sorry.
smashing. That's really close to smooshing, Holly.
brilliant.
And great, Holly.
So it's 10 till, so you guys have to like 20 or so after the hour. So you guys enjoy.
Hi, Dee.
Oh, how you doing?
Good. How are you arriving today?
Oh, what?
How are you arriving today to the
How am
session?
I arriving? Very tired, burnout, exhausted, depleted. Few more and throw left and right in there. I need to be more grateful. I need to be more thankful. I need to do all that. I know.
Is there anything that you would like to do to ground yourself before we start our session?
No, thanks for asking.
Okay, so we have about 20 until 20 after, so about 30 minutes for this session. What would you like to focus on today?
Well, okay, so right now I've got a meeting with one of my cohorts from Flow Research Collective, and so I don't know why he keeps reaching out to me and thinking that I've got all the time in the world to just chat with him and talk to him. And so he had, okay, so when we were in class together, it was a 6-month class, and we see each other on Zoom and we'd text each other every once in a while, or missed you, when we see each other in the Zoom class. And so we just kind of got to, cohorts, right? And then, so so I asked him to do the coaching call to be able to turn into Cheryl. And so we tried that a couple of weeks ago, and the bullheaded, wouldn't let me take him on the 30-minute journey of the coaching process, and he'd go off, well, this is not what, and so he he wanted to make up for it. I wasn't able to use the recording last time, and so we had a session this morning. I'm under the gun. I needed to get this into Coach Cheryl, right? And so we met. And so he was resistant, and I was like, I don't know if this is even going to work. But he goes, oh, well, because this isn't the coaching he does. He does this foundational code where he gives advice, a business consultant mostly, right? And so he Oh, I couldn't believe it. Such a knucklehead. We were right in the middle of the session, so he agreed to do the 30-minute going on my coaching model. Thought it would be interesting to see what it was like. He stopped me in the middle of the coaching session and asked to put it on pause, and then I told him we just had 30 minutes. So, and my Zoom is only 40. So he stopped and he said, "But, put it on pause." Now I realized that this is what we did in class, and we had these little mini sessions where we'd coach each other and help each other along the way. And so he was mentoring me in the middle. And I said, Gil, I said, this is not, I said, I assure you that my coach mentor will clobber me for that mistake. You get it? She's the one that's going to look at this. And so by the time I got back into the session, my brain was fried trying to get him to understand. And I was trying to pick back up the flow and screwed it all up. Okay. So it's not worth the dime, to turn in. And so, and at the end of the call, he was like, he wanted to talk more, but he had to jump, and so he goes, oh, we'll talk tomorrow. We'll talk tomorrow. 3 meetings ago, I was like, well, Gil, you know what? I was like, call me, and however I said it, right? Oh, no, well, we're just friends, we'll just get together and we'll just talk. No, we don't. We don't. So tomorrow we're going to talk, and I want him to hire me, or I want him to stop thinking that he can just take my time like that. I don't know what's wrong with him or what's wrong with me. So I would like to know what to say to him tomorrow to be able to say, hire me? Because I know he wants to talk to me. He just keeps reaching out. He won't leave me alone. And it's not any other, it's just business. And I know that. Understand it. But I don't want to hurt his feelings. The cohorts, we've known each other since early 23. I want to figure out what to do with him tomorrow.
So you packed out quite a bit there. And so what part of this, so what part of this really matters to you?
The lack of respect that he would insinuate himself on my time like that and not expect me to be and that's what I've got going on here, is this: if you want to be coached for free, come over and knock on Deanna's door, she'll do it for you. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to invest my time with people who aren't going to pay me for my expertise. So that's the rub. And I don't know why he doesn't get that, because I ask him, you know what? Well, maybe, and I know he's got money. I know he's a very successful coach. Well, why don't you, well, maybe we could work together, Gil, and we could have some sessions and figure that out. Oh, no, we're just friends. That's what we do. We just get together. Well, Gil, we got limited time here, and this was like 5 conversations ago over the course of the last, I don't know, 3 months, 4 months, whatever.
Yeah, and what would you like to walk away from by the end of this session?
I like to be able to talk to him tomorrow without choking the life out of him. To be able to have a conversation with him. He is so obstinate. He is just, and I just like to be able to talk to him and convey the fact that we're not just friends. He wants to come and bring his topic of conversation and talk to me about what he wants some resolution with. I want him to understand if that's what he wants. I'm not going to talk to him as just a friend. He's married. Yeah, I'm aggravated. I'm not going to talk to a married man. Just get on the phone. Just talk to him. Friends. Oh, you know, it was colleague, cohort. Missed you at the meeting. What do you think? I didn't agree with that. What did you? I mean, this was all, in the course of the 6 months that we spend in the high peak performance coaching. So he's
I'm
an
just gonna,
imbecile.
I'm just going to interject here just for a minute, if that's okay.
Sure, go ahead. I'll shut up.
No, that's okay. No, I just
Oh, I
want
know I talk too much and I'm ranting.
to make sure that we're on track.
Okay.
So can you please repeat back to me what it is that you would like to have by the end of this session?
A way to communicate to him that I'm not, I just don't want to jump on the phone with him as a friendship type basis. He's married. I'm single. I'm a coach. My time is important just like his.
Okay.
And I want to be able to communicate this to him in a nice, calm way. And hire me, Gil. If you want to talk to me, hire me. Okay.
Okay. So how will you know that you have achieved this by the end of the session?
Well, I'll get some warm and fuzzies.
So when you're talking about this person, you feel like it feels like you're a little aggravated. Does that seem like it resonates?
Here's your first clue.
And so on a number of from 0 to 10, how aggravated do you feel?
I feel right up there. He blew this session. He wanted to. He said, "Well, I wanted to get our original agreement and help you out in this right there." And he stopped me right in the middle of the session to mentor me.
Yeah. And so
And I
where would you put your aggravation on a number line from 0 to 10? Where would you put your aggravation?
right now with
10
everything
being
else,
very aggravated. 10 is tough.
10, yeah,
Okay. So
because I've got so much other things going in my life, and I don't need this. Okay, 10.
and what number would you believe you would be at if you feel like you've accomplished what you're set out to do today?
Well, I'd need to lower my, oh, I probably need at least a 4. Because 5 is just too wishy-washy. I need at least a 4 or 3.
Okay. And so where would you like to begin?
I thought I already did. I don't know. What's next? Strangle him? Can't do that. He lives in the United Kingdom. Not take his call? Text him not available? I don't want to do that. I want peaceful way to move forward.
So what's coming up for you right now?
Out of aggravation, frustration. Misalignment with my good, happy nature. I don't like feeling like this. It's not me. I'm a happy girl.
So what would you like to say to him?
What I've already said to him again, but he doesn't get it. So I've got to say it in a different way, evidently. I don't want to hurt his feelings. I mean, I know he's just, I mean, he's smart. One time, and I've called him before to consult with a client before. And so that consulting, that I want to keep that relationship alive to when, if it's business, if he's got a client he wants to consult with me, or I've got a client to consult with him, that's perfect. That is business. But I don't want to talk about his personal life unless he wants to pay me. Because that's a boundary that I feel like that he's crossing. Now, if he was single and, that would be different, then we could hang out as friends and I would make that time because I like him and he's, smart, we talk business and stuff like that. But don't mess, that's a line that I'm not gonna, even get close to.
So what's important maintaining a relationship with this person?
Because he speaks my language, because we understand flow and we understand those concepts. And it's like, when you've been through 6 months training, with each other or in the same class, you build a rapport, right? And so I respect him. I respect his business, his success. I don't have to have him. I could just building that network of people who you can talk to, and be able to consult with. And, that having that network and having him part of that felt really good. It really did until it's not feeling good.
So what do you believe he wants out of this relationship?
Friendship, free coaching. Because he's got to want something or he wouldn't keep on reaching out. Oh, can we talk later? Oh, can we talk? Will you have a few minutes next week? So he is the one that's reaching out to me. And
So what part of what you just mentioned, you covered, how you believe he wants friendship, he wants free coaching and whatnot. How much of that picture that you see is speaking truth?
all of it.
And how do you know it to be true?
Because I've made the assessments along the way to pick up on what was friendship and what was business and what was just pure camaraderie, friendship. But there's a line with me there, you know? Because when I get into spending an hour and he would talk, and that's precious time. I am learning to protect my time because I used to didn't have to do that, but now I really, really do with my new circumstances and situation, Your time is your money, right? And so being able to see that loss of time without any reward, and that has been my problem all along. That's what sent me into burnout. Lack of reward. Do all this work, 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 and don't get any reward for it. That's what threw me into burnout. Now I'm seeing this work, 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 work with him and no reward. Now, is it a mutually rewarding thing when we talk about when I call him with a client, and so um, consulting, and that's business, and he's happy, but that boundary it's there, it is business, and I don't like that crossing of the boundaries. Again, he's married. I don't need to be talking about his personal stuff with him unless he's going to pay me as a coach. And I tried to convey that to him last time, or at one point when I saw that he was wanting to be more demanding on my time.
So I hear that frustration about those lines, about how you're wanting to maintain that professionalism, but yet it gets kind of wishy-washy with the personal.
It's not that he comes on to me. It's not like he makes advances or there's no sexual talk or there's no, love. There's no, you're beautiful or, there's none of that at all. So I don't feel like that so much that is what he is trying to get is another kind of relationship with me. I don't really feel like that's what's happening.
How could you have help with defining the boundaries?
Could I do what? I'm sorry.
So how can you have help, support with defining those boundaries?
What, like sit down and somebody help me define what boundaries that I'm defining? I'm sorry, I'm not sure what your question is. I apologize. I'm trying.
No, that's okay. So you mentioned you've got your personal boundary and you get your professional boundary, and you don't want to get into the personal with him unless you're getting paid. Do I have that right? So how do you know when that boundary is being crossed?
For the topic of his conversation,
Yeah.
what he wants to talk about.
Yeah.
He was fascinated. Okay, so we were talking, and it was a consulting with I was relationship coaching with a man, and so I wanted his man's perspective on this situation, to help coach him through. And long story short, it was like he told me, he said, "Well, this guy's just not mature. He's just not grown up," So but see, I forgot where I was even going with that. Oh, okay. So as we were talking, I mentioned love. And so, well, it was relationship coaching. Guy was coaching. He wanted to learn how to love a narcissist. Okay. And so then when I mentioned love and made a general statement, well, I love everybody, and he was like, what? I said, well, I just love everybody. Well, how can you love everybody? That doesn't make sense. How can you do that? And I said, well, it's just, one of the ways, it's like Christian, Christ-like love, and it's like you love your neighbor as yourself, and he can understand that because he's very jaded. He's very uh, maybe he doesn't. I don't think he has too much emotional intelligence. But anyway, so he said, I want to know how you do that, how you can just love everybody. And I was like, and this was where it got into the coaching session. And I was like, okay, well, I need this for my class. And so let's get in, let's do a coaching session on it. And so he blew that wide open because he couldn't stay structured enough. I want you tell me, let's have a conversation. And so I was like, oh, and I went back into, well, the church that I grew up in, there's a once a month, and members from the audience, the congregation is invited to get up and share their testimony, and I grew up with people at the podium saying, "I love you." Stranger blanketed, to the audience, and so that's something that I grew up with and that I'm used to, giving people the benefit of the doubt, charity, Christ-like love, and so that's easy for me to do, but it wasn't easy for him to do. And he was fascinated with that. So the next after we got into that and after we spent it time for him not understanding, I said, well, let's just go to a coaching session because I need this recording, da da da. He blew it wide open. So now he says, okay, well, let me get this for you. I promised you I'd do this for you. We talked. And he goes, and I told him how the structure would be. Oh, well, that's not that's not my style of coaching. I just like to have the dialogue. And we'll have dialogue. And I tried to explain what we were going to do, and then, and I was like, well, Gil, this is really not about you. This is about you wanting to help me. And so, in my business, this is a business venture. It would help you as well, and then, I'm just aggravated. I just need to do something with him, left or right.
So if you were to ask Gil to follow a structure, how would that sound?
Well, I did.
Yeah, and how would you say it?
What, the follow the structures for the coaching session that we did,
Mhm.
or
Mm-hmm.
well, I did. I said, well, when we get into the session, this will be just a general topic of what do you want to talk about? Well, I don't have any problems. I don't think I've got any problems. And he runs a $1 million company, but he doesn't have any problems, and I was like, well, okay, let's see, who was it? Lori's gonna love this. Okay, so I was like, well, okay, so let me just give you an example. So the other day I was coaching and a client came to me and she said that she really didn't know, what she wanted to talk about. We're about coached out at this point. And so I said, well, she told me that she had adopted this older gentleman and she called him Grandpa Mike, and he's in the hospital over here. And then he goes, okay, well, I do have something similar like that. So we found a topic that he could be coached on. And so when we started the session, he goes, "Oh, well, something like Grandpa Mike." And I said, "Okay," but he wouldn't. He was so obstinate. He was so resistant, and I wish that I had just memorized this resistant, chapter that we had because that's what it was. And I was trying to break down his resistance because I guess he knows everything, and he's a bit. And so I did go through the structure with him, and he's just.
So how coachable do you believe he is?
Well, he's not. And as far as when he asked me if and I wasn't able to close the session, right, because of the time that we took him mentoring me mid-session, you can't do that. That just screwed up my flow. And, I tried to get back into it and I was like, Coach Cheryl is gonna clobber me for that mistake, Gil. I promise you, I'm not getting my mentoring from you, I'm coaching you. My mentor coach will tell me the things that I've done wrong in this coaching session. And then so we try and pick back up where we left off, and I'm aggravated as hell by this time. And so I blew that opportunity to have that recording in. Not that I won't have other ones, I just needed it in, and that's part of the frustration now is not having that turned in today and make, so plus plus it's like my other things that are going big in my life has added to this frustration as well. So
Yeah, so just to we're making sure we're staying on track. We have it's about well, I have 5:16.
okay.
So we've got just a few more minutes left here of our session.
Okay.
So you mentioned that you wanted to feel less aggravated. So are you on topic with this? Are you on track with this?
Not really. I'm sorry. I just feel as aggravated. I really don't think that I've come, to any kind of strategies or anything to do as far as lowering my anxiety towards this or any resolution about what I could say to him to say it in a very professional way.
So you wanted to be able to approach this with something different to say. So how could you come across differently?
Bill, I don't think that you understood what I've been trying to tell you. I am busy. My time is just as important as yours. It's just as valuable as yours. I told you 2 months ago, if you wanted to talk about personal things, hire me. Let's work together. I believe that I really can coach men. I'm really good at coaching men. Okay. Because I've studied them at nauseum since my divorce. I like every YouTube video on planet Earth and what
Just,
what
I'm
is
just
the
gonna remind
man's
you,
species? Not right.
sorry, Dee, I'm just gonna remind you just to keep on track. So you were on a roll there, it felt like. And I heard a strong voice. And yeah. And so do you want to keep going with what you were doing there?
Yes, I think that before I might have said it in a way that was not owning how precious my time is, but as I'm into this right now, I have so much to do and I feel like I'm in a vice grip. I feel like that I'm just in one of those walls and everything's compressing here on me, and it's coming down. And I just don't have the time to spare. So, but
I heard what you said. I'd be all ears. I'd be like, okay, I hear ya.
and then he would say, like you said before, is, oh, well, no, that's not what we do. We're just friends. We just jump on the friends. We just, jump on the call and help each other out every once in a while. But every once in a while is not reaching out and, when do you have time? I'm available, in this time zone thing, and all this kind of stuff, and it's just like he just keeps reaching out. And if he wants to keep on talking to me, he needs to pay me. And this is what I need to shift in myself for my coaching practice. I don't need to keep coaching people for free.
And so how would you be able to honor yourself with what you have control over?
We just need to be able to say what I need to say and take the risk of losing that professional friendship that I have valued over the years, over these last 2 years. Because I believe if I say that same thing again to him, then it will be he will hear it more this time than he did last time. And when we were in the class together, there was more flexibility. It was like, well, I didn't get the link. Did you get the link? You know, did you agree with this? Did you agree with the expert here? And he's always not agreeing with anybody on anything, you know. So, but so I guess I would just have to be willing to, when I say this again, if I say it again, if I don't just get this tomorrow out of the way and just leave it alone until the next time he reaches out. So that would be my two choices.
Okay.
Take
And
the
how does,
risk of take the risk of Gil, you're busy. I'm busy. I feel like that when you come to me with these kinds of questions, that this is more of a personal thing. And if it's a personal thing, we need to be in a professional relationship because I don't do personal things with married men. So if you want to talk about personal things, hire me. If you want to talk about consulting about a client or an idea, that is different. But then, you know, we can't spend an hour and a half talking about it or whatever, but that would be what I would really want to convey to him.
and how does that feel to say that?
Actually, it feels pretty good. If I could just walk him through. Deanna's not a doormat. Can't just come wipe your feet and go.
And how would you use this moving forward in your life?
Moving forward with this conversation with Gil, and
What might be a new awareness around this?
then I need to stop letting people steal my valuable time. I need to start learning to say no.
And what
And I
does
don't like to say no because I'm a giving person, and I love people and I want to help people, and I'm always there to do that and I always have been. I gotta rearrange some things as a single woman here. I've got to rearrange a lot of things and get used to doing a lot of things differently than I have before.
Well, we're coming to a close here, Dee, and I would like to take a moment just to acknowledge you for your willingness to look at yourself to see how you can move through this challenge that you're experiencing. How do you feel you've accomplished what you set out to do today?
I feel a little bit more grounded and being able to not be so hot-headed moving
You,
into it.
you were a 10 when we started.
Hmm.
You wanted to be at a 4. Where do you believe that you're at right now?
Well, maybe after I think about this session and calm myself down by, I don't know, maybe it's men in general and the way that they've just acted, towards me all my life. And now here's another one doing the very same thing to me, and me. It's crazy. Okay. I'm just loony, you know, but I'm not going to put up with it anymore.
You're learning to say no.
They're not going to do that. They are not going to do that to Deanna anymore. I just can't let that happen anymore.
So where would you put yourself on that number line now?
I'd put it at a 5. And put it down there to where it's more manageable now, where I can think about it now without being so emotional, indignant, a bunch of other words.
Well, Dee, we're coming to a close here. How would you like to close this session today?
I thanking you. I appreciate your time and your patience, me being irate as I am and aggravated as I am. You were really, your presence was really calming. Thank you.
Well, you did the work, Dee. And what could you see getting in the way of you moving forward and speaking to him the way that you just demonstrated?
I don't guess that there is anything. I would just need to just practice being bold and compassionate. But bold is what I've always wanted to be. Bold. And say what I mean. Be nice. Whatever will be, will be. Que sera, sera. All right, y'all say hi to Dreamy.
Dreamy?
Dreamsicle.
Oh,
Yay.
hi, Dreamsicle. So what is one thing that you can do that would help support you?
Pray. Trust myself. Know that I'm doing the right thing. Know that if he doesn't want to stay the colleague cohort relationship, that's fine with me. I would not want to lose that because I value that. But if he doesn't, then good riddance. Thank you, Kim.
Okay. Thanks, Dee. Talk to you next time.
Thank you. Sorry, y'all.
Thanks,
It was
ladies.
a rant. It was a rant.
Kim, how are you feeling after the session?
How am I feeling after the session? How am I feeling? Yeah. With it being such a short time, it's
Yeah.
I feel that too. And so I don't want to be mindful about that time all the time. But what I had wanted to do was check in with Dee before we started, the session, to ask her, what is the best way to interrupt you? And so, I just did it as respectfully as I could.
Yes. Yeah, you did. But yeah, that's a good insight of like knowing your client and how can you help them but keep moving forward.
Yeah, like
allotment. Yeah.
She likes stories, like she's a good storyteller.
No, they're good ones.
I could just get right in there and like listen to her stories, right? But no, it's coaching, right? So it's like got to keep bringing her back, and saying, okay, let's check in, like, are we on track? Like, I hear all this, but how is that good for you? How is that in alignment with your goal? Things like that. So it's just, yeah. I always love connecting with Dee. She's got lots to say. I love hearing her stories.
And I think, and we'll talk about it more, but I thought you did a really good job of bringing that up, even like more as time was running out and she was telling more and more stories, like a few times, we need to stay focused, or as we're coming to the end, you know, but you did it very kindly and graciously, right? So it was easy to be received and go, oh yeah, right, I don't want to run out of time either. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lori, what did you get for 3 and 4? Coaching agreement.
So 3, focus and outcome. So I only did what I just realized I only wrote down what Kim was saying. But she asked her, what do you,
all 3.
what's that?
It's hard to like in these boxes do like Kim, but then you want to get some of like Dee's responses so you know why Kim said this, but then it's really hard to flip between colors. Cheryl, if we can make this so we could flip between colors with like a click of something, that would help.
Yeah, that'd be really great. So she did ask, what do you want to talk about? She asked, what
Yeah.
would you like to walk away with at the end of the session?
Mhm.
Why is this important to maintain this relationship with this person?
Yeah.
What part of this really matters to you? How will you know we will have achieved this at the end of the session? Like she looped
Yeah.
back, which was like awesome. She kept going back to the coaching agreement, which I loved. And then you know, she was really supportive and like empathetic. Like she stayed with Dee. And one of the best questions that I felt that cultivated trust and safety was, what do you believe he wants out of this relationship?
Mhm. Yeah.
And I thought that that was a really powerful question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. It was. Valerie, we talk about 5 and 6, the presence and listening.
Yeah, I mean, let's see, I really thought, you know, I felt for you, Kim, because I thought it was very challenging for you to move the thing forward. Just looking at, I mean, I think, you know, coach partners with the client, responding in any way to the contributions, accepts the client's response. So, you know, I think the acknowledgement of what she was saying and then still trying to bring her. So what, you know, where are we going with this? I thought you kept doing that, but that's not a specific 4 thing. But you know, I thought that throughout the whole thing, I don't have specifics, but I thought that you showed a lot of acknowledgement and empathy.
Mhm.
I didn't, I honestly, I apologize. I didn't get that I was specifically looking for 4 or 5. And 5, I thought I was just going to give general comments. So I didn't really look for
Okay.
the goal in the context of the person, the agenda. I mean, yeah,
It was 5 and 6, but we'll come back.
oh, I'm sorry, 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay.
So, so yeah, I definitely the silence and the pauses. I mean, Kim, you're a great listener, and I thought that Dee did most of the talking, which is the way it should be. You know, you did right from the beginning keep trying to bring it back to the agenda and moving it forward. And so I don't know how to explain that with these specifics, but you know, you asked how she would feel.
Right.
And
So 6.3 would be like exploring the emotions.
yeah, so 6.3. Yeah. Yeah. So again, I wasn't, you know, no interruptions for sure. You know, trying to say what Dee said and then take it to the next step. That's what I just kept getting was, yeah, okay, I hear you. And then how do we move it forward? So I don't know, you know, again, I don't know specifically where that falls, but there you go.
Christine, what did you get for 7 and 8? You don't have to get them all, obviously, just a few of each.
Yeah, I got quite a bit. So what were the things that stood out to me? 7.2, where she asked, how would you be able to honor yourself and share something? I didn't get what the rest was. I was frantically trying to write. Where she asked, what matters to you? What's the reason you maintain the relationship? You know, what do you believe he wants out of the relationship? Where she asked, how do you ask him to follow the structure, and how coachable do you believe he is?
Yeah.
I thought that was a really, really good question. Um,
Where did you put
uh,
those? Here?
pardon?
Which one? Were those still under 7.2 or did
Yeah,
you?
7.3 was the ones I just said.
Okay.
And shares and explores, where she said she hears her frustration with the lack of boundaries, and that she heard her strong voice, and where's the part where she was keeping her on track. I felt 7.6, all of her questions I felt were open-ended, concise language. Yes, and the client talks more, absolutely. If I look at 8, explores progress at 4 minutes left, she checked
Yeah.
at the end, checked where do you believe you're at now. New learning, she asked her what might be a new awareness that she's come up with. Applying new learning, how would you use this moving forward? 8.5, what's one thing you can do to help support yourself moving forward? So there was quite a bit. 8.6, what can you see as a barrier to moving forward? And 8.8, yes, she says, I heard what you said. I would hear you if you said that, is
Yeah.
basically what she was meaning. And she
Right.
acknowledged her willingness to move throughout the challenge that she was having. So, and she partnered to close on how she would want to end the session. So I think she hit quite a lot in there, and
Yeah.
in
Quickly.
what I believe was a pretty challenging coaching session.
Yeah, I mean, I know you were rushed at the end. That's why I said quickly and smiled, because that's not your fault. But I think you did a very valiant effort at the end to make sure that you hit those points in with competency 8, and making sure that you were, making sure that she was growing and she was hearing her growth and she had a plan with her growth. And I think twice you asked her at 2 different times, like, what do you need to support you? What would best support you right now? So the one thing I was just gonna say, and I just learned this myself, when it comes to the coaching agreement. So the difference between ACC and PCC, when we talk about your measures of success, ACC is when we would state, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, and then have them pick the number. PCC is we don't pick the measure. We ask them to pick the measure, right? And it seems really simple, but it's not, because we're really used to, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, like, easily helping them measure it, but instead, asking them, how would you like to measure this? And you did towards the end, because you said, or I don't know if it was right here or a little bit later on, when you said to her, how will you know that, we've achieved this by the end? Which then, covered back that measurement thing. But otherwise, yeah, I thought you really nailed the coaching agreement greatly. Just getting there, going back. And I love that you kept, as we said, like, staying on track, staying on track, staying on track. I think, if there would have been more time, it would have been interesting to try to explore more, like, have her more of the awarenesses, and using some of the words that she used. She kept referring to him as a married man, which he obviously is. She's not just going to make that up, right? But that's a big boundary for her. And, just giving her way. He needs to pay, he needs to pay, he needs to pay. And, finding out, like, what really are her boundaries when it comes to it. And then, how can she apply those to Gil? But she was still very worked up about it still, right? So, I mean, she had a lot to, like, get off and needed to express for herself to hear. And that's a lot of what coaching is sometimes, is saying those things out loud so we know that we're feeling them. And then you're like, oh, so I thought it was brilliant that you did really let her express herself in certain places, and then you were able to kind of like get in there. I thought that was a really great idea to, you know, ask a client, you know, how can I keep us best on track in these short sessions or something like that? Because that's just really kind. You did it kindly already, right? But we all have like the ways that work best for us, you know, and maybe it's just like if you tap your finger on your head, like I'll know, and then you don't actually have to say it. I really loved for 7.3, you asked her, what's the importance of maintaining the relationship? I was like, mic drop. Right. And so I thought that was a really good, like, expanding on not just like setting the boundaries, but what's the overall here? Like, let's think outside. Like, what's even that point of keeping this relationship? Like, what's the importance for you? Not for him, but like for you. And then oh, Christine already said that one. That one we've said. I really liked, so in 6.5, when it talks about exploring perceptions, beliefs, and assumptions, this was a really good example when you were kind of quickly summarizing back. So like out of everything that you just said, what you just covered, how much of that picture that you're painting, how much of that is really speaking truth, right? And so getting her to really look deeper at that belief and that perception, that that's the truth, and we know that's not the truth, right? That's like why we're coming alongside. And then she answered it, and you asked her, well, how do you know that to be true? So that challenging of the beliefs and pushing the client to just think a little bit more about what they were saying, and then how they could apply that, you know, to the topic at hand. But yeah, I think everything else, what did I under 5? So an example, so 5.2, you came back again, and you did this a few times, but the one I wrote down was when you said, you know, what would you like to say to him? Like, just state from the beginning, like, what would you like to state to him? And then you did keep inviting her. And one of the times you asked, where would you like to begin? And that was like right after the coaching agreement, pretty much. But you guys had kind of gone off, and there was a lot more context that was given. And so it was great to just bring that back around and ask her, okay, where would you like to begin now? You know, this is a lot to unpack. So what's going to mean the most for you? Yeah. So I think you did great with the topic, and with the time that you had, and with your respect and empathy that you had with and for D. Yeah. Yeah. Lori, is there anything you want to?
No, I think you did a really great job, and I love the insight for the ACC PCC as far as the scale, because that's something too that I had thought of, and I love that you remembered to mention that. I think Kim, I think you know, as always, you gave so much space.
Yeah.
Like so much space that it had me thinking, does she count to 5 before she starts? Like, is she actually sitting there counting? Right. And I just think that it's just incredible the amount of room you give people. That's something that I don't want you to ever change. Because you really allow people to just be at peace with their thoughts, and nobody ever feels rushed. Like, even if you like screw up a question, right? Not that you do, but I'm saying, right? Like, it doesn't even matter, because like they're not even thinking about what you're asking. They're thinking about what they're thinking about, because there's just so much room.
Yeah.
So I just really want to commend you for that.
Yeah, that was really powerful when you sat there for way more than 10 seconds. And then I was kind of like, what's she going to do with the silence? Right. And I'm like, well, I know Kim knows what she's going to ask next. Like, she's not having a brain fart here. And so then when you just like brilliantly came out with, so how does that feel? I was like, oh yeah, she knew what she was doing. Like you were in, but I thought that was a great way to help the client kind of focus in on everything that they had just said, but then how does it feel? Because that's, yeah, that was a really powerful moment.
Yeah, and also you just kept bringing it back, right? And that's what we're there to do. You know, like just kind of try to get them to as much awareness as we can to what they said that was important to them, right? So I thought that was great.
Oh, D is
You said something.
the prolonged.
That prolonged silence made me very uncomfortable. Yeah.
Sorry.
Well,
But I got the point across in a big way.
and also, like, Dee, I'm not surprised that that made you feel uncomfortable, to be honest with you, because part of the goal, right, as a coach, what we're trying to do is get you to sit with your feelings so you get clear as to what you really have going on. And that's not just you, that's our clients, right? We want them to have an awareness that we want to move that conversation forward. And the fact that you were uncomfortable in that just shows how important of a topic this was for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like that you're committed to really having a great relationship, but at the same time, it needs to be to your standards. Yeah.
Well, great evening, everybody. Great session. Thanks for sharing, Dee, being so vulnerable with all of us. I know it's not easy. So we're meeting next Thursday. We don't start that double thing yet. That's what I was trying to remind myself. Where are we in June? Okay. So next Thursday, and keep working, everybody, on your coaching, one-on-one coaching.
And before you all go, I'm wondering if Holly, Christine, and Lori, if you could just hang for a minute, because you're three people I haven't nailed down times to meet with yet.
So if you can just email me, Valerie, like the next few days when you have availability, because I'm pretty wide open, that's the easiest. I was going to email you and just ask, give me a few times when you're free.
All right, but I mean, we have each other. Would you mind, since we're early in our class time, if we
Yeah.
just pull out our calendars and just do it?
Okay.
Because it really, I'm dealing with so much scheduling right now. I want to scream. And if you don't mind, I guess we could just get it done.
Yeah. So what do you have free next week? There's 3 of us, so. And the following week. I mean, you don't have to get them all done.
So, well, the following week for me, I'm away at a retreat. So that's one of the other reasons, just to kind of get it solid.
The
the
9th
best
through
day-
the 15th?
What's that?
The 9th through the 15th, you're
I'm away the 16th through the 20th.
Okay, so that's
Nice.
2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here next week.
Okay.
Yeah. So the best day for me, if anybody can do it, is Friday. I'm launching a group program on Wednesday. So I'm going to be pretty, and I'm presenting on Monday. So towards the
I
end
can do
of
Friday.
Friday, Christine, what time? Call it.
You pick a time. I'll make it happen.
10:30 a.m. Are you Eastern?
I am not Eastern.
Okay, where are you?
I am currently, it is 6:49 where I am.
So you're Pacific? Or no, you're Mountain.
No, I'm Central Standard.
Okay, Central. So would you like to do, so is 9 or 9:30? Is 9
AM?
9 or 9:30 Central, so 10 or 10:30 Eastern? AM, yes.
Yep, that's fine.
Let's say 10 a.m.
I'm not hearing you very well.
Oh, I might have had my phone, my finger over the thing.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
so who wants to book? Do you want me to send you a booking link?
If you like, I can send Zoom too, but yeah, why don't you? That'd be great.
Like if I hold on.
All
I'm
right.
going to so this is the other thing too. I have a few people to coach with, and I would love anyone can just use this link. I'm gonna put a link in the chat right
Yeah.
now.
I was gonna ask for your link again because I lost it.
Okay,
Hold on, I'm just gonna pull it up right now.
all right. Holly and Lori, could either of you do the 13th?
Yes, I could do the 13th.
All right, what time?
I'm Eastern, so the 13th, anytime from like 11 on.
Okay, so just to get kind of a break, how about 11:30? I'm gonna meet with
Okay.
Christine at 10.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
All right, Lori,
I am not available on the 13th.
okay? Are you available a weekend time? Could you do Saturday in the morning?
Hold on, let me see, Saturday. I could do Saturday in the morning, yep.
Okay, 10 o'clock?
Would you be willing, well, I could do 9 o'clock on Friday. Would that work?
9 o'clock on Friday?
Yeah,
What Friday?
the 13th.
Oh, I have a standing Friday 9 a.m. Eastern. I could do 8.
I can't do 8.
Okay.
How about the following Monday? The 16th.
I'm away that week.
You're away the whole week?
Yep.
Any other days between the 8th and the 12th? I know you're launching on Wednesday.
I'm launching on Wednesday. I have clients pretty much all day on Thursday. I could potentially, if I'm not fried, I could potentially do Wednesday night, Wednesday like evening. Or so I finish clients as of now at 4:30. I could do like 5:36, like anytime after that, if that would work.
That would be okay with me if that's okay with you, if that's not too long of a day. Otherwise,
Well, yeah.
Otherwise I can do times on Monday. I'm trying because I'm moving Saturday, so I don't want to commit to a time and then not have that work.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so how about Wednesday? What time from 5 o'clock on?
I could do 5 if that works for you.
Yeah, let's do 5. That sounds great.
And as of right now, I'm pretty flexible. So if you want, what's your email? I'm gonna just send you an invite right now.
Yep, Valerie.Vigoda, VALERIE.VIGODA @gmail.com.
You got it. I just sent that to you. Let me know.
All
if
right. And Christine, you put something in the chat, right?
I left you, there is my link there to book in with me.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then Holly, how do you want to coordinate? Do you want to
I'll send
send
you a link. Yeah,
beautiful.
13th.
I thank you. I thank you so much. I'm so under the gun right now with my baby. I've just birthed my baby, and it's been quite a thing. So I really thank you all. It just feels really good to get this on the calendar. All right, I'm gonna get into your link, Christine, and then I'm gonna sign off. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, if you have any issues, let me know. Oh, she's
Okay.
gone. Oh, no, she's not. Yeah, let me know if you have any issues.
All right. I'm trying. It's asking me about cookies.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
All right. Good night.
Night.
Good night, Laurie. Thank you. I'm just dealing with these cookies.
If I log off, I'm going to disconnect you guys.
Oh, okay. All right. Give me one second to get into her thing. The only thing is, Christine, I don't see any times available on the 13th. So if you'd like
Hold on,
to,
hold on. Give me 1 second. I will quickly change that because actually the 13th is normally my day off, but don't worry about that. I'm going to change it right now.
okay.
Because my Friday, here we go.
Lori, you should be able to make one of us hosts.
Yes,
That's okay. I
you
don't,
should.
that's okay.
Okay, so go ahead and try now.
Okay, and we said 10. Yep, I see it.
So does it show availability there for you now?
It does. So
Brilliant.
I think I'm good,
And
but
that's
let me
okay. My
just-
husband's leaving, so we are good. Yes. Okay.
I think I just did it. Woo, woo.
Woo, woo. Okay,
right.
so that'll come in, I'm sure, pretty quickly. And if you have any issues, let me know.
Okay, awesome. Thanks a lot,
Okay.
Christine. Thank you, Lori.
No problem. Thanks
All
so
right.
much.
Good night, y'all.
Okay, bye.
Bye.